Today we're going to try Panda Express's new apple pie egg roll, which is perhaps the most obvious combination you can think of, while at the same time being the most not obvious combination you can think of, because when you really dive into it, an apple pie egg roll makes perfect sense, and it makes perfect sense for Panda Express. It's really the ideal combination between like classic Americana and Chinese food. So if you're making Americanized Chinese food, which is what Panda Express makes, this 100% makes sense. You combine, the iconic image of the apple pie with an egg roll, perfect. Now these are lined up at the same price as like the regular chicken egg rolls or their veggie spring rolls. Here by me, it's $2 per. I think you get 2 spring rolls for $2. You get 1 chicken egg roll for $2 or 1 apple pie egg roll for $2 as part of their appetizer menu. But I'll say this about this. It's a little bit longer than a typical egg roll would be from Panda Express, but it's also much thinner and, of course, coated in sugar, maybe a little bit too much. But I'm a little surprised by the size based on the advertisement. The advertisement makes it seem more like Panda Express's traditional egg rolls, which would be a little bit smaller than this in terms of length, but would be a lot thicker, a little bit girthier. So here we got the long, thin. I think a little bit stubbier and a little bit girthier probably would have been the way to go, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the perfect ratio, and maybe they did it for a reason, because it makes the blend of the egg roll crust, the ratio works out better with apple this way. But who knows? I guess that's the point of this review. So let's take a bite and find out. Surprise! It's actually really good. Very similar taste to an apple pie from McDonald's. I didn't want to reduct it down to that, and I do want to say there is some differences, but the shell, even though it is an egg roll wrapper and not the pie crust of a McDonald's apple pie, so you do have that difference. I think this might actually be a little bit superior because it's a little bit crispier. That's what you get here, is a little bit crispy crunch on the shell versus an apple pie where it's more of a soft crumble. I mean, an apple pie is kind of hard, but it crumbles softly as you eat it, much like a Pop-Tart. Whereas this is a nice snap crunch of an egg roll. So in that way, it might be superior to an apple pie, but it's also a little bit, in terms of cost, weird for an apple pie. I mean, McDonald's is not necessarily the cheapest place these days, but I can still go there and get an apple pie. I think it's $1.49 for 1 apple pie, or like 2 for $2. And they are significantly bigger than these, both I think by length, they're probably around the same size, but 3 times as wide. And the inner filling is basically identical. I think it's probably a little bit smaller of cubes of apples in here to fit them in this little shell. But otherwise, the flavor is very close. It has that same kind of generic frozen apple pie flavor, which I don't hate, but you taste that same kind of, oh, this was like, it's apples. There's apple pieces, but it's in this kind of gel that is a little bit fakey that you would get in frozen apple pies and things like that. But that I love the taste of. But if you know what I'm talking about, you'll know what flavor I mean. It's a little bit of a fake apple. If you've never really had a frozen apple pie, maybe you might not know. Or if you've never had a apple pie like from the the pantry section, I don't know why this is so hard for me to say, from the grocery store that you get off the shelf, as a dessert for a kid or something. If you've never had one of those apple pies, that the inner flavor is very, very, very similar to that. It's the egg roll wrapper itself that makes this a little bit unique with the crunch, and I do appreciate it. I just don't think it is really worth the price of $2. I feel like this is an item where I should be getting 2 of these egg rolls for $2 based on the size. That's my only real issue with it. Flavor-wise, I think it's really good. Maybe a little bit too much sugar on the outside. I don't think you have to quite dust it that much. Maybe you can request them to not dust it for you. I don't know. But apple pie, egg roll, it's a simple idea. It's perhaps an obvious idea. As I said up front, it's a little bit obvious, but also not obvious at the same time. But it works. It makes sense. I think taste-wise, because of the crunch of the egg roll wrapper, I would put it above a McDonald's apple pie right now, specifically because I think this is fried. I can't 100% say with certainty, but it has a distinct fried taste and texture that makes me think this was fried in some kind of oil and not baked like they are at McDonald's now. making this markedly worse for you, which is probably a horrible thing, but you know, it makes the taste and texture just that little bit better. So if you want to check them out at Panda Express, again, they should be the same price as any other appetizer, so you can put it in. If you want to get a plate with 2 things, you can swap an appetizer. I mean, you could swap one of your chicken items or beef items for an egg roll if you want to add one of those. It's worth a try, I think. I just think $2 is a little bit rich for essentially a smaller than a churro apple pie. So that's Panda Express, new apple pie egg roll. My first review in a while. I just kind of wanted to throw one out there. This was the only thing that really stood out to me as very interesting right now, even though there are a lot of things. If you're still hanging around, you know, Taco Bell has their strawberry cinnamon twist I might try at some point. The jalapeno Mexican pizza and stuff like that. Little Caesar, whoa. Little Caesars has their new crazy calzone, but it seems so similar to past pizzas that they've done with the little pockets like the Batman pizza and stuff that I didn't really think it was that interesting. So hopefully something new will come out that will also catch my attention, but for right now, we're coming back with the apple pie egg roll. And with that, I will see you all next time.